Hi guys, today we're going to react to Crucify Your Culture by REN. This is a Buy Me a Coffee request by MBthree. Thank you, MBthree. We're excited to do this.
Thank you, MBthree. We appreciate the support.
A murderous mind, born into a murderous time, where right or wrong is a blurred line, hard to define. For greed is poison the well, we all drink from the chalice. It's a long way down into the rabbit hole, Alice.
Now I crucify your culture, burn down the altar. Religion of consumerism picks us up like vultures, takes us for punks. They say jump, we jump. It's the same if it's Bush or Obama or Trump. I'm not buying into a 1-2-3 party system. I rise against some illusions of choice. Take our voice or take back your rigged election system. Deficit represent nobody but your money. Funny how you keep them sweet, honey. Shepherds and the sheep, dummy.
Someday they'll find a way to sell my views, like they sold the concept of freedom to you. They sold the voice of Huxley, of Orwell, Guberman, Dalai Lama. Now they're all just a product to you.
And now you care more about your new shoes, the loose screws and minds of politicians that abuse truths to shape you, break you. Consumerism breaks you until your thoughts that end you. They make you wanna hate you, so you keep buying. Corporation frying, defying fraudulent liars and burning empires. Tap into the telephone wires and history's biased. It glorifies and justifies our evil. It justifies the wars that rain destruction upon people.
Every single human born equal.
They treat you like an asset, not a human, man. It's see-through. Slavery through debt. You think that mortgage is to help you? Bills stacking high, killing dreams. Money maims you, lying tames you.
First of all, this is really cool. It's got a slightly different sound to the other songs that we've heard from REN. Just a little bit more intensity in the music in what we're hearing here. It was just kind of rolling along. He's rapping to it. Really, really cool. So the whole time while I'm reading the lyrics that are coming on the screen, I was also bopping my head to the beat.
The structure of the song is somewhat deceptive because it's a fairly short song with animations, and it's jam-packed with a lot of lyrics. And it's not just so REN can sing fast. I could pick up a lot of messages along the way, but I couldn't keep up. This song was meant to be dissected, not to just listen to at your leisure.
Yeah, I think that's part of the effect as well. I think he wants to kind of punch you in the face with it, so you get a lot very quickly. There's a lot of text just coming at you, so the whole time you're trying to keep pace. As we've discussed before, he's a master storyteller, so there's always a reason, there's always a purpose for everything that he does. And I think there's a reason that the song is shorter, because that's how he wants to convey a certain message. The message here is somewhat similar to the Money Game trilogy in some ways. There's elements of especially Money Game 2. Here he kind of goes off at the state of the world, but it's consumerism and politics. He's got a lot of criticism about the situation and a lot of criticism about us, including him as people, and how we behave with all this around us. Basically, like sheep, we do what we do. We buy, and all of that. But yeah, there's a lot of text here, and a lot of it is very on point, I think.
He talks about how, well, he doesn't say it in those words, but he talks about how our thoughts are malleable. We're being re-engineered to focus on other things that serve those sinister intellectuals who are hurting us. The song starts, a murderer's mind born into a murderous time, where right or wrong is a blurred line, hard to define. We're born into an era where truth doesn't lead the speech anymore. It's all about who tells the best lies. We've known this for so long, but he's just saying it here bluntly and simply.
I think you kind of went with the truth, but what he's talking about here is right or wrong in today's society is blurred. So it's not just about truth, it's about not knowing what is right, what is wrong, the way we see it, the way we act towards it. I think he's talking about the fact that because we don't know right from wrong, you know, where society has kind of rolled to and where it's going from here. So this line is going to get even more blurred with the way things are going.
For greed has poisoned the well, we all drink from the chalice. It's a long way down into the rabbit hole, Alice. For greed has poisoned the well, it means that everybody's affected. Even people who have good intent will still stick to their beliefs and values that are untouched by this poisonous doctrine. Even they're affected. So it's only a matter of time until they cave and become a part of the problem like the rest of us. That's what it means to me, because the well is poison. You can't drink from a poisoned well, even if it's a drop of poison.
And he says we all drink from the chalice, so we all drank from it. So greed is in all of us in some way.
We're all affected, and it's a long way down to the rabbit hole, Alice. We're all headed towards a distorted sense of reality and a distorted sense of what's right and wrong. We're all going to be part of that problem.
Or we're already a fair way down that hole, and it's a long way to get back out from it. Now I crucify your culture, burn down the altar. Religion of consumerism picks us off like vultures. Yeah, it stresses the whole consumerism point. But I like that line of, crucify culture, burn down the altar. He's basically saying we got to burn it all down to start again. It always gives me this kind of sense of, some kind of revolution is coming. It doesn't have to be physical or a violent one. It can be a quiet revolution done through education and through revealing truth, but it's a revolution nonetheless.
Yeah, well, I kind of took it to a different direction. He says, now I crucify your culture, so I'm here to F things up for the man, for the sinister intellectuals. And then he says, religion of consumerism picks us off like vultures. To me, it means people's values and beliefs are being crushed by a religion of consumerism. And they're being taught and they're being indoctrinated to follow along with the herd and dwell in consumerism and keep the man's pockets full.
It's funny, but I always read that line wrong. I read religion and consumerism because I think in my mind, the way he's kind of planted it, I think he's criticizing both religion and consumerism, saying consumerism is now just another religion. So anything that puts us in this position where we are basically a herd of sheep following some kind of word that somebody gives to us that we're supposed to follow just because it's given to us is wrong. That's what this is all about. It's like, again, us developing free thought and being able to dissect information and everything like that is gone because now it's these religions, consumerism being one of them, that basically tell us what to do, what to think, and all the rest of it.
You can actually understand why it's so effective because consumerism is a religion based on instant gratification, as opposed to other religion that you have to give of yourself, you have to produce of yourself to feel some sort of fulfillment. Consumerism tells you don't have to do all that. All you have to do is buy, and chase that instant gratification, which at the end will leave you unhappy and broken.
Because whoever is behind it, whether it's religious figures or politicians or any other type of leader who are leading us down the wrong path, they all pick at our weaknesses. So distraction and this false reward that comes with consumerism. We basically kill ourselves to work to make enough money so we can buy more stuff, and we feed the beast because all that money that we spend is going to all these corporations. And we are just buying things, and we're going to be dead under all these things that we have that are going nowhere. You can't take it with you. So what's the point? And then he goes on and he says, takes us for punks. They say jump, we jump. It's the same if it's Bush or Obama or Trump. So he's saying it doesn't matter who, the president or who the leader is who is telling us what to do. They take us for idiots, and whatever they say, we do. It doesn't matter which party, which leader. We follow blindly. That's criticizing us, people in general.
To me, it means that it doesn't matter who's in office. They're not really running things. The people who are running things are the people who put these people in office. I'm not buying into a 1, 2, 3 party system. I rise against them. Illusions of choice take our voice, so take back your rigged election system. We've talked about this before. It's a divide and conquer tactic. So you have mainly 2 parties. You can either be in one camp or the other. That's how they prevent you from being unified. It's not by chance. If the people oppose each other because of their political beliefs, then they will never unite. That's what will allow them to be controlled.
Yeah, but also he's not buying into the system that has however many parties competing for power, because it's only there to give us an illusion of choice, because there's no real choice there, because nobody out of these parties is actually out there to serve us. They're all there to save their own interests. Democracy in general is an illusion because there's no real choice. They take our voice, so as in not just our vote, but they actually take our voice. We can't actually ask for anything or cause any change in politics or anything like that. And he calls it a rigged election system because whether the election is rigged or not, whether we voted the most votes for whoever wins or not, it's still rigged because it doesn't matter. No one is there to actually serve us.
Yeah, makes sense. Deficit. Represent nobody but your money. Funny. How you keep them sweet, honey, shepherds and the sheep, dummy. To me, it means that whatever financial problems, whatever deficit befalls the nation, it's not caused by the people of the nation, it's caused by the people who run things, by the banks. We're all being sold on the multiple reasons why there's a deficit, why the country is having problems, but people are getting savvy. The problems are the banks. And no nation should have a deficit if it's running on a healthy economy.
Yeah, I think it follows a little bit from Money Game, where greed is king, money is king. So any debt you might have, it's not a real representation of debt, it's just a representation of the system. Basically how they keep us docile. Most of us are in some kind of debt, whether it's credit card or mortgages or whatever else, and that keeps us working. So we remain part of the system. So the supposed shepherds are keeping us sheep in line, but we are kind of dummies.
Yeah, we're being herded. The biggest obligations you'll ever have, likely, if you're a average Joe, is buying a house. And the country ensures that you're locked in, that you're trapped in the country as long as you owe an insane amount of money, as long as you spend the next 30 years grinding and paying back the banks. I mean, it's everywhere. It's a very old and effective tactic.
Then he says, someday they'll find a way to sell my views like they sold the concept of freedom to you. They sold the voice of Huxley, of Orwell, Guevara, Dalai Lama. Now they're all just a product to you. Someday they'll find a way to sell my views. So basically my thoughts and everything I think about, they're even going to sell that. They're basically making everything into a product like they did with, you know, the people that he's named, like Huxley, Orwell, Guevara, you know, revolutionaries, authors, Dalai Lama, philosophers, everything that they have said and come up with. They have made it into a product. Now people buy, you know, Che Guevara t-shirts because it's cool to be in a Che Guevara t-shirt, but it's not really about what it meant, you know, or what Guevara's views were.
It's all going into the money churning machine. I think we discussed it when we first reacted to Ren. We said he's very bright. He's not the first to talk about these issues, but the way he says it, it's digestible. People can understand it. And it's good that he's doing that. So in this verse, he's actually calling it out. Everything I'm saying is going to be monetized somehow and sold as a product, and in it hides at some point in the future, my message will be lost, as were the messages of those who preceded me. Like you said, people buy a Che Guevara shirt just because it's cool, but they don't really know what it means.
Yeah, and they will, you know, quote Orwell or Dalai Lama just to sound cool in a conversation, not exactly because they follow their teachings. He's kind of even saying that they will find a way even to make him into a product. But I think he's trying to split people. You're going to have some people who are just going to wear the shirts and quote Ren or whatever because it's cool and they want to look cool, and other people who are actually going to follow what he's saying and take it to heart and actually think about these things and change the way they live their lives and step away from consumerism. And from what I've heard, he's actually stayed away from working under, or let's say working for, record companies. So he does all these things kind of independently.
Not surprising.
You know, it's kind of saying something. So I think he's trying to step away from the machine, from the money game, as much as possible, even though it's hard. So, you know, that's why he criticizes everyone, including himself, because we're all part of it in some way until we find a way to step away from it.
Yeah. And the purpose of criticizing himself as well, there's something humble in it, because in this verse, to me at least, he's telling people, don't praise me. Listen to what I'm telling you, because my message is more important than I am. He's lumping himself with other commoditized people because he knows he's human, and that automatically makes him fallible. So he's telling people, don't look at me, look at my message. And now you care more about your new shoes than loose screws. In minds of politicians that abuse truths to shape you and break you. Consumerism rapes you until your thoughts, they ain't you. They make you want to hate you, so you keep buying, buying, buying. Beautiful verse. So now you care about your stuff more than what's wrong with you. That's the religion of consumerism. That's exactly what they're trying to do. Trying to make you drop all your values and everything that makes you you, and define your identity with what you buy. That's what's going to make you keep buying. So you buy, buy, and buy until you lose your sense of self. You don't know who you are without the stuff you have.
And you stay in that never-ending circle. Corporation frying, defying fraudulent liars and burning empires. Tap into the telephone wires, and history is biased. It glorifies and justifies our evil. It justifies the wars that rain destruction upon people. Again, you know, this has little references to Big Brother. You know, they tap into telephone wires. This greed that takes over everything. I mean, he refers to corporations and burning empires, but this is also governments and countries, and whichever way you look at it, it's just too hard to know anymore who's at the top.
Yeah, I agree with you completely, but it kind of took me to another place where advertisers use what you type online, they use what searches you do, they tap into the way you live so they can better sell you things. That invasion of privacy, that's what it took me with the telephone wires. They invade your privacy just to make you a better consumer, take more money out of your pocket so you can feed their greed more.
It's funny when you mention advertisers, actually took me to that other line, defying fraudulent liars, where advertisers are also false advertising. And then it says that history is biased. It glorifies and justifies our evil. Our evil, not justifies evil. It justifies our evil. It justifies the war that rained destruction upon people. So anything, you know, like they say that war is actually, you know, business. All the wars are actually predicated on some sort of economic motives, It's crazy. And history is biased because it's not always the truth that survives. And sometimes what we know of history is just the way it was written, not necessarily the way it happened.
Yeah, history comes with an agenda. That's the devastating thing about it. When you read it, you're thinking this is what happened. It's the same with movies that talk about historical events. So you see those movies and it's digestible because it's a movie. You don't have to focus down and read. You don't have to interview all those people who died 100 years ago. And you think to yourself, yeah, this happened that way because I'm feeling it, because they catered to my emotions. It can easily be a bunch of lies.
Yeah, and a movie or whatever that is like based on a true story, it becomes the truth. That's how it happened, even though it's not necessarily how it happened.
Yeah.
People follow that from that point, and it becomes, for lack of a better description, truth, because that's how history gets written and rewritten. And yeah, it's crazy, but that is how we work.
Every single human born equal, they treat you like an asset, not a human man. It's see-through. Slavery through debt. You think that mortgage is to help you. Bills stacking high, killing dreams, money maims you, line tames you. Well, that first line, every single human born equal, that's in quotations. He's mocking it. It's clearly not true. They treat you like an asset. We talked about it in the Money Game trilogy as people being the products. You refer to them as shells. Not a human man. It's a see-through. It's just something to churn more value out of. Slavery through debt. I talked about this earlier in this episode. You think mortgage is to help you. That's how you lock people in the country when they owe money for 30 years. Mortgage is not to help anybody. It's to help the banks. Bills stacking high, killing dreams. Money maims you, lying tames you. Bills stacking high means you're so focused on surviving rather than fulfilling your dreams. And that's how you carry out your life, chasing your next meal, getting out of debt.
That's how dreams die, as he says.
Yeah, because you're focused on surviving rather than living.
Money maims you, lion tames you. So basically money that, as he said in Money Game, money was meant for trade. And instead, money ends up trading us. We actually have something that we've invented to be able to trade. And instead, that thing has taken our place and we are being traded as commodity. Lion tames you because, you're supposed to tame a lion, but here the lion is taming you. Something happened in the order of things, in the food chain, if you will. And what is happening here, we are being tamed by the lion, which I assume he's still referring to money. But it could be that we are just so well trained by whoever is pulling the strings that we have been tamed like a circus animal. We basically do as instructed, which again, it's repeating the theme that he's already talked about. Earlier, he said, they treat you like an asset, not a human man. It's see-through. What he's saying there is, it's obvious. Anyone should be able to see this. We are not people anymore. We are assets. The whole thing about slavery through debt and mortgage, you said it's to keep you in a country. It's not just to keep you in a country. It's just to keep you under control and within this system.
Yeah.
As long as you're under this debt, you're going to keep working to pay it off. And it's also like you're paying, mortgage. You're paying rent on your debt. So you're not even paying it off. You are paying some of it, and it's going to take you so long that you're paying it however many times over. And we still sign that dotted line, and we still take these mortgages, and we still live this life. So, is it to help you? Not really. If the conditions were slightly different, maybe. I mean, that's fine that they charge interest, but the amount of interest and the way it's structured is basically to keep us in a prison of our own making.
It's structured to enslave you.
Money maims you, lion tames you. The land of the free. Irony, a hierarchy, folks' education kills the fire in me. Still I stand strong like two towers that were knocked down by greedy men's thirst for power and now greed.
Greed plants a seed that will destroy us all if we succumb to greed. Fuck greed, silent I breathe. Burn money, greed makes us bleed, makes us bleed, makes us bleed.
Our political system is a farce. Democracy will not exist till actions speak louder than money. Wealth is a poison honey, another money making holiday for the Easter bunny. Adverts suck out your soul, I drink Coca-Cola, lining up the pockets of the fat controller, selling fear to the people, let it spread like a bowl, a propaganda machine. Remember the dream, it's hopeless. Nikola Tesla, 1883. The DC current system fought against the AC, but not because the AC system wasn't any better, because people don't like change when money's at the center. Move, let me enter from the epicenter. Poison parliamenter, who's the main contender? Oh, it's you, Mr. President. Evident that the counterintelligence is a hell of a prevalent.
Fantastic. As the song went on and the way the beat and the structure, it really reminded me of a song by the Disposable Heroes of Hypocrisy. You know, Television, Drug of a Nation. Also a song, you know, like this. It's about a revolution against media keeping us under wraps kind of
The
thing.
name fits. Yeah.
Yeah. And there was actually another thing that always kind of stuck in my mind since the title. There's a song by Rodriguez, who we've reacted to before, a song called Crucify Your Mind. And this is Crucify Your Culture. I was thinking maybe that's kind of a nod to that in some way, because there is a line in Crucify Your Mind that is not necessarily to do much with this song. I was reminded of this line when we were doing one of REN's songs. It says, so convince your mirror as you've always done before, as in we're conning ourselves by looking in the mirror, pretending that we're seeing something where, you know, what is reflecting back at us is actually something else. That's how I interpreted it. And I was reminded of that. I think it was in Money Game Part 3, when he looks at the mirror in the beginning. But I'm not sure it's actually relevant.
It has too many points of correlation to warrant a discussion on it. It can at least give you that. I can see the connection myself.
Yeah, just again, first time reaction and first time hearing this one and seeing it, it just kind of popped into mind that I was reminded of it in the other one. And here as well, you know, because this whole song is really about looking at yourself within the system. The system is doing this to you, but this is what you're doing or letting it do to you.
Yeah, like an addict would. It's an addiction.
The land of the free, irony, a hierarchy, false education kills the fire in me. Still I stand strong like two towers that were knocked down by greedy men's thirst for power and now greed. Interesting. The land of the free, irony. So he's basically saying, you know, again, the land of the free, really? Is it?
Yeah.
You know, how ironic.
Yeah.
A hierarchy, false education kills the fire in me. So false education, we are being indoctrinated with this education that is basically lies and doesn't help us. So it kills the fire in you. It's always trying to put you down and not allow for free thought. And I stand strong like two towers, obviously.
Yeah.
A reference to September 11.
Yeah.
Those two towers were knocked down by greedy men's thirst for power and now greed. So he is actually saying, you know, there was more to the answers that we got as to why it happened, how it happened, who's behind it, and all the rest of it.
He's pulling that inside job thread in the whole conspiracy thing. Well, with our limited knowledge in it. I like what you said about free thinking, hierarchy, false education kills the fire in me. Free thinking is the enemy, and the trick is not to sway the people from free thinking. It's to make it not even recognize that they need free thinking. They're being brainwashed. That's the real tragedy. Greed plants the seed that will destroy us all if we succumb to greed. Fuck greed, silent I breathe, burn money, greed makes us bleed, makes us bleed, makes us bleed. He's actually describing his stance in all of it. So greed plants the seeds. It's a generational problem. You can't escape it. It reminds me of Gordon Gekko's speech in Wall Street. Greed is good. Greed moves the world. It's true. Greed is good. But for whom?
Yeah, he's basically saying greed will destroy us. And if we keep going the way we're going, because it's bleeding us dry and we are succumbing to it. That's the current state of affairs anyway. Our political system is a farce. Democracy will not exist till actions speak louder than money. Wealth is a poisoned honey. Another money-making holiday for the Easter Bunny. Our political system is a farce is pretty obvious. Democracy will not exist till actions speak louder than money. That's pretty cool, you know, because he's saying, you know, democracy will remain fool's gold. It doesn't actually. We think that we live in democracies, but we're not. We have no control until actions by the people we elect, by the people who elect them, and pushes people into power will become the right kind of actions.
Yeah.
They speak louder than money, but at the moment, money speaks louder than all of it.
Yeah.
Wealth is a poisoned honey. It's basically a honey trap. Another money-making holiday for the Easter Bunny is basically talking about how we commoditized holidays as well, you know, from any of them, really.
Adverts suck out your soul. Drink Coca-Cola. Lining up the pockets of the fat controller, selling fear to the people. Let it spread like Ebola. Propaganda machine, American dream, it's hopeless. When he says adverts, at all times, something on the screen tries to convince you that you need something, that you need to buy something, that you need to buy this product, you need to buy this pill, You need to buy this course. And it tries to do it not just because it will benefit you in this and this and this way, but to scare you out of what would happen if you don't buy it. It's a sales tactic to try and fear you. Don't be the one without this new thing that just came out.
Yeah. And as we've mentioned in the Money Game trilogy, it's about, buying brands.
Yeah.
As well, if you don't have this brand, then you've got nothing, even though you have the exact same product that works in exactly the same way, but it doesn't have the brand name on it, that kind of thing. So yeah, people constantly live in fear of not having something.
They plant that idea in your head that you have to have it, because people buy things
subliminal.
that they have to have. Yeah.
And it's spreading like a virus. Nikola Tesla, 1883, the DC current system fought against the AC, but not because the AC system wasn't any better, because people don't like change when money's at the center.
Yeah.
I like he took the example of Nikola Tesla and the current system with electricity, but you can take it again anywhere. It's almost like with the electric car. It exists and it can save us from using up oil and petroleum and whatever, and saving the environment. But instead, there's too much money involved, so we keep doing what we're doing because of governments. But
yeah, Tesla's ingenuity devised a way to provide electricity to everybody for free, but it wasn't adopted as a system.
You don't want to give anything for free that can be monetized.
Yeah, but electricity is abundant. It's insane that people pay for electricity and water.
Even today, I mean, it's becoming a little bit better, with solar electricity and stuff like that, but it's still not where it should be, to kind of help save the planet and even help out people within this economy.
Because people don't like change when money is at the center. I wonder what that means. If it means just the people who devised that system, the people who stopped Tesla's initiative from benefiting all humanity, or the people who have been indoctrinated into thinking that, yes, they should pay for electricity, which they can make themselves in abundance.
It means that when there's money to be made, it's better to keep the status quo and not create change where money will not be made. So this is obviously coming from the people who are making the money and not from the public.
I think it has a double meaning, because money is at the center. To be a person that wants to go off grid right now, you have to invest at some sort of infrastructure to make power, to make electricity. And people don't like change. People don't want to know where their water comes from. They don't want to pump the water from the earth. They want it to come out of the faucet. People don't want to know how to fix their own cars. They want the mechanic to do that. It falls in the same vein. They don't want to do those things because then they'll have to invest in tools and in infrastructure to self-sustain themselves. And most people don't want to do that. They want to be a part of the system. They don't like change when money's at the center, when they have to invest more money. Move, let me enter from the epicenter. Poison Parliament. Who's the main contender? Oh, it's you, Mr. President. Evident that the counterintelligence is a hell of a prevalent. I think what he means here is that every time there's an election, you have a contender that promises change. They take whatever they feel that the public believes to be wrong, or whatever topic or something that bothers the public the most, and they make that into their campaign points of conversation. That's how the contenders get elected. But what they all end up doing is just make empty promises and then keeping the status quo. They only do that to get in office. And history teaches us that most of them do that. That's what I think he means with the counterintelligence is hell of a prevalent. The intel that testifies to the fact that all these contenders usually deceive the public to get in office is always there, because it happens in every election.
That first line, move, let me enter from the epicenter, I think he means, let me make a change from within. Let's make a difference from the heart of things. He's talking about people and society. Let's make a change from within. Poison Parliament is kind of self-explanatory. I think he's basically rejecting, the corrupt political system that exists. When he goes into who's the main contender, I think he kind of questions the legitimacy of those candidates. Are they moral? Are they really telling the truth? Do they really want to do these things for us, or do they have an ulterior motive? And then he says, oh, it's you, Mr. President. So I think he's saying that the office, whoever is in office, actually represents this corruption, this false political system, this false leadership. When he refers to counterintelligence, I think he's talking about the government, or whoever is maybe even above the government, but the tactics You know, those manipulative tactics, Big Brother, counterintelligence. They're basically using technology and whatever else to spy and to change the way we think, the way we act, and all the rest of it. So he's talking about those tactics. I think it's really, really like interesting with kind of a lot of depth. It's like every line criticizes the current status quo and goes back to REN's main message, which is always like, wake up to this and let's make a change. So everything in these songs, that at least a lot of the ones we've covered, is a call to action.
Whatever contender, whoever's going to be president, even after their term has ended, they're not necessarily measured by merit. They're measured by public perception. So the entirety of their achievements may not be important if you really look at what a president did during his term. It all has to do with how the public sees him or her.
Absolutely. That's still around today. Usually people will vote for someone not necessarily because of change they created and policies they enacted and all the rest of it, but more as to how they made them feel.
Yeah.
If they felt like they were safer in that time, or if they felt like they were more financially capable at that time. People vote according to their own pockets. It's kind of true, but it's not just that, you know. It's about, you know, feeling safe, and they make them feel good. And sometimes it's about the way they present themselves, the way they look and the way they sound, and not really about what they do.
Yeah, and you have also debates between candidates that where they slander each other, and it's a war actually. An election campaign is a war, and you need to choose sides as the average Joe to know who you're electing, and you actually never know who you're electing. You never know what's going to be because there's no merit yet, because the person has yet to perform for you as an elected president. Very crooked way of doing things, I think.
Yeah, and overall, you know, that's what REN is saying. He's saying to put all this away, to find a way to eliminate this, avoid it. He's saying that it starts with rejecting consumerism. Well, it starts with opening your eyes and realizing that all of this is happening. And then he's saying, basically saying, reject consumerism, which would disconnect us from this ongoing cycle of control. We're being controlled. And then it might lead to a true democracy and, you know, help us get rid of whoever is in power and all that sort of greed and power motive that they have, and actually bring in somebody who wants to serve the people. I think that's kind of the overall message. It's a call to action.
Yeah, I think it's an oversimplified call to action. People will know by this verse or by the entire song that something needs to be done, but they won't know what. They won't know the simple steps that they need to take in order to start creating change, aside for paying attention to what is currently happening, opening their eyes.
Educating themselves
as
to the reality of what's around them, and not to feel safe in this lie.
Yeah.
So if we break the cycle of, you know, of consumerism, we will be able to find our way to seeing the truth and to potentially leading into some sort of a change. Putting aside politics and meaning and all of that with REN's music, the music is fantastic. He's such an amazing storyteller and communicator. He knows what he's trying to implant in your mind in a way. It's funny because a lot of what he refers to as, you know, all these issues that are wrong in society have to do with some kind of a brainwash. But at the same time, I think his music both opens up your eyes and your mind, but in some way, there are elements of subliminal advertising, subliminal thought, of brainwashing you into seeing what he's saying. It's just what REN's method comes from the desire to do something good and not evil. But it's like, people in our nature, we are sheep and we are shells and we are vacant. Yeah. So it's really a matter of the right people brainwashing us to believe in the right thing, if that makes any sense. Because as a whole, we don't know right from wrong because we're so easily corruptible. So we don't know right from wrong, not really. Because, you know, we see it even today. We've discussed this many, many times, things to do with social media and cancel culture and virtue signaling and all of these things. We don't really know. With every generation, we're becoming more and more of a blank canvas that people manipulate to their whim. And it's like, the more I see, you know, what REN is doing, and I assume, you know, what others are doing in that direction as well, it's like, even then, we need these shepherds and we need this kind of brainwashing to lead us on the right path. Like, we will not go there by ourselves.
Yep.
And that, to me personally, is kind of a scary thought, but I get it.
There's something in the structure of the song, the way he particularly chose to jam pack it with a lot of lyrics and compact it to a less than 3-minute song. In my mind, maybe this song was meant to be somewhat of a kingmaker. So bear with me here. He made this song so jam-packed in order to pique your curiosity. What's he talking about? It potentially serves a purpose where if you are the type of person who gets his curiosity piqued from what he's talking about, and you stop and pause the song and analyze it and think about it thoroughly and derive ideas from it and maybe embrace some of the thought processes from it to become a more educated person, then maybe you're the type of person who can lead a nation. Songs like that, the way they're presented, it's like sifting through the masses, people who just listen to music just to enjoy music without giving it an extra thought. This song is like a capsule. It almost attacks you with a lot of information to bring out the people who are truly free thinkers, who will truly find things in the song to broaden their minds.
I agree with certain elements of what you said. Some of it I said earlier as well. But the thing about a kingmaker, I'm not sure, because it is definitely for allowing for critical thinkers and similar thinking people to find REN and to find sort of a community. I mean, we're already seeing that even online. I'm assuming on other videos by REN, on reaction videos for songs by REN, that the people who are commenting may have already made some connections. You know, it may have already led to something from there, because the discussion that comes up in these comments section help bring about this kind of critical thinking. So it is, like you said, you know, it's sifting through and finding these people who are of this similar kind of mind. Thank you, MBthree, for this request. It's been another awesome REN song for us to cover. We appreciate the support.
Yeah, thank you, MB3, for this request. If you like this episode, guys, please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and click the little bell icon so you'll get notified on all our future videos. If you have a request you'd like bumped up the line, please make it through Buy Me a Coffee. All contributions are, of course, very much appreciated. Thank you all for sticking with us. Thank you all for your time. Well, it's a good thing that we said it reminds us of Van Halen, because solo also reminds me of Van Halen. That solo, that's going to stay with me for a long time. I just love this band.
Thank you, everyone. As always, we appreciate the support. We will be back in a couple of days with a new episode, and we look forward to seeing you then. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.